Welcome to another session of Scatteryarn. Why do men cheat? Why do women cheat?
People cheat for the thrill of it. Because I remember I was chatting with somebody and the person was like, when he was younger, he used to be like a playboy, a womanizer. So he got married and then everything stopped.
Maybe there's something missing from the primary partner. So you might think, okay, if this thing is missing with A, let me try B. Let me try C. Let me try D.
How about we look at it this way? Why do people not cheat? I would say the reason why most people don't cheat are more than the reasons why people cheat.
So maybe there are other things she's looking for that he's not doing. Or it could be, maybe he's just a potato. And if that's the case, potatoes are nice. But you might need some protein, need some vitamin, etc. Which you might have to find elsewhere.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another session of Scatteryarn where we discuss anything that relates to people and their behavior. I'm your guy, Tobes. And in today's episode, we're going to be delving into the world of infidelity, cheating. Why do men cheat? Why do women cheat? Is it a societal constraint? Are people free to do whatever they want? I don't know, but we're just going to Scatteryarn about this. And joining me to Scatteryarn on today's episode are my guys, Mr. Traveler. How are you doing, Mr. Morris, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to be back on the podcast and joined by my esteemed panelists. And I'm sure it will be a very, very good discussions with the topics we have lined up today. So it should be quite interesting.
Right, thank you. Good to have you as always. And Mr. Ade, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay as well. I had a better sleep than the previous episode, so I'm feeling quite more energetic than than the last time, so that's quite good.
The topic seems like you will need that energy.
Yeah, maybe that's why I had to rest a bit more, but yeah, thank you. And also welcoming back, and also coming back again for another episode is Mr. Johnny Boy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very fine, thank you. So happy to be here and looking forward to discussing the topics and the issues we have today.
Yeah.
How's everyone
Thank
doing?
you. We miss we are okay. We miss your little spectacles from the last episode, but you
I
know.
decided to change it up today.
Thank you. Good to see. All right. And yeah, I can see you wearing your Arsenal jersey. Are you hoping that they win the league?
Yes, I'm hoping they win the league.
Good.
All right. Good. Right. Let's go straight into it. Why do people cheat? Right? Is it the thrill of the forbidden fruit? Is it because they've been told you can't do it, you have to stick to one person? Or is it just, some people like breaking the rules and, that rendezvous, meeting somewhere apart from the normal places? What's your take on it? Or is it just like the previous episode where someone said if they eat plantain, next time they want fried potato, if they have fried potato, they want something else. So what is your take on this, guy?
So I would say
Uh-huh.
some people cheat for the thrill of it. Because I remember I was chatting with somebody and the person was like, when he was younger, he used to be like a playboy, a womanizer. So he got married and then everything had to stop. And then to try and see if he could still come back to his old ways, he started testing out his new skills and he saw that he was still a pro. he did actually retired, but he didn't hang off his boots. So from there he started cheating, and so that could be another reason why. The thrill of it, it's definitely one.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it could be the thrill, definitely. I can see why people might do that because of the thrill. It could also be maybe they're not getting something that they want. Maybe there's something missing from, the primary partner. So you might think, okay, if this thing is missing with A, let me try B for this, for the emotional aspect. Let me try C for the friendship. Let me try D for... Anyway, hopefully you don't finish up the alphabet before you find all you're looking for.
Right.
But yes, be searching for something.
Right, so just that insatiable want of humans trying to figure things out. Fair enough. And Sir Morris, on all your travels.
How about we look at it this way? Why do people not cheat? Right? Because if we look at it from that point of view, it would be a lot of reasons can come to mind. For example, religious reason. I think that would be one of the most, especially in a religious society whereby when you cheat, it's seen as, unholy. But that's one point of view. And then we then come to societal constraints. Most of the times when you cheat, especially as a lady, you're seen as, how would I put it? You're regarded a little bit, I don't know if I will use the word less in the society, but essentially it's seen as a, like a taboo. It's something that is sacred. You shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but yeah, so I think if we take away societal constraints or societal expectations and then religion, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are going to cheat.
Yeah.
So I would say the reason why most people don't cheat are more than the reasons why people cheat. But again,
Yeah.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, in terms of society, so you can add cultural as well because most cultures they believe in monogamy.
Yeah.
One person for life, and even marriage vows says you forsake all others. Basically, saying you
Yeah.
have to stick to one person. So maybe that's the reason why they do not cheat, trying to honor those vows and those commitments. Fair enough. Which takes us to our first story for today because I would like us to delve into it, but looking at it from the point of view of some news stories that's happened, some real stories. And our news story takes us to Ghana, where a man claims that he's a bedroom maestro. Since he's a Ghanaian man, let's call him Akbonsa or Mensah. Let's say Mensah. Mensah is a common name, right? So Mensah the Casanova believes that he's really good and is a pro in the bedroom
in
department.
his head.
However, yeah, that's what he believes, right? But however, his wife happened to be very insatiable, right? She claimed to love him, but she can't help herself from gallivanting with other men, claiming that she has this insatiable taste. And while Mr. Mensah, the Casanova, is doing everything he can, trying to get her to orgasm and all of that stuff. That is the word that was said in the news report. I'm not making this up. He said he makes her orgasm, but he can't seem to understand why he's not getting his wife to be satisfied. So, um, my first question to you guys is: do you think that it's about Mensah's bedroom skills, or do you think that his wife, Mrs. Insatiable, just has some uncontrollable urges that she needs to satisfy? That's my question, really.
If I were to take a thing out of what you said, you mentioned something about he mentioned orgasm there. I get her to orgasms, and so it feels to me like you're measuring satisfaction with orgasm as the basis of that ultimate satisfaction when it comes to sex. But I
Mm,
think it takes a little bit more than just orgasms, especially for a female perspective. So it takes more than just orgasm. Yes, it's essential, but I think it is way more than that in terms of it could be also because chances are the longer you've been with somebody, the more easier it is to get them to orgasm. At least that I know. Well, from my communication with people, and but yeah, but one thing I've come to realize is that obviously the longer you're with somebody, it's much easier to get them to, climax or orgasm. So it takes more than just getting them to orgasms to actually satisfy them, because if you've practiced and you've done several acts of, sexual intimacies over time, then chances are orgasm should be the least of your worries, because you already know your partner that much. So I think just merely saying I satisfy her, and it seems to me it's now that basis of the satisfaction, but it could be more than that. It could be that she wants to have things spiced up,
mm,
maybe a little bit of aggressiveness, a little
mm.
bit of playfulness, a little bit of even intimacy. Even sometimes it doesn't even necessarily have to be that. Just it could just be, foreplay and whatever it is. But
Yeah.
but that's just one aspect. There are several aspects, but we'll come back to it later. I'll let the rest of the guys chip in on this.
Okay. Rest of the guys.
Sorry, what was the question again? I was busy trying to take notes and they were saying.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've kind of lost it now. But I think the question is, I can't even remember the question, but it's something around: is it that the woman doesn't have an emotional connection, or is it that the man does not actually satisfy her, or is it that the wife has like an insatiable and uncontrollable urge of just being with other men that she's trying to satisfy, basically?
Okay, right. So going from what Morris has said, I think I agree it could be a bit of both. So it could be he's quantifying satisfaction based on a very narrow criteria. So maybe there are other things she's looking for that he's not doing. Or it could be maybe he's just a potato. And if that's the case, potatoes are nice. But you might want need some protein, need some vitamin, etc., which you might have to find elsewhere. So yeah, bit of both. Or maybe it's just a carry on habit, like Johnny Boy said. Maybe it's something she's been doing long before they met, and marriage is just a certificate. Carry on with the order of the day. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that's it.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. I was about to say that. I was about to say that. Did he know this before? That's the first question I'm going to ask him, right? Did you know about this before you got married to her? That's the first question. If you knew about it and got married to her, then you should know and expect that it's going to happen. So the best thing is to get used to it,
Yeah, but
right? I mean,
but then again, he is. But like looking at it from a different point of view, even if he didn't know, now that he's married, the wife has confessed to him that this is what is happening. That she's just like she can't just be with one person. She has that desire for other people.
so
So
my thing for he has
does
two
that change the
options, right?
equation?
To me, he has two options. Number one, you either walk away, or the second option, you just create. It's already an open marriage to me. You guys just come to terms, and we're allowed to bring people into the marriage. So both you and I can bring people inside, but it has to be something we both agree. So if
Right.
you're bringing a guy into the relationship, I must approve of him. And if I'm bringing a girl into the
Yeah.
relationship, she must also agree, because it seems like something to me. I feel something that's
Fair
been
enough.
happening for a long time. I don't, because I feel those stuff of
Yeah.
that type of stuff is not something you just start in marriage. It's something that starts before marriage. So I feel that's the best option. To me, that's the best option for him. Come to an agreement. He
Okay.
brings a
And
lady into the marriage. Both agree. Same thing for her, and they live happily ever after.
I think we're I think you are taking it a little bit far. Let's not go there yet, right? Let's stick to the fact that we are trying to address what's it called? The issue on ground, right? So for the lady, you made a very valid point. This is it's more likely than not that it didn't just start overnight after they got married. I may be wrong here, but I think it's something that may have been a pattern over time, but maybe he's just noticing it, or he thinks that when we get married, then it's just the
Yeah,
two of us. Then, in which case, tells me that there's a lack of
exactly.
communication there. So there is this communication that you've not actually resolved. And also, what is the driving force? Is he that she's compulsive, or is she addicted to sex? So that's another thing that we might also, because if it's an addiction, then that's a different conversation entirely.
so let's fill in the gap there. I
Okay.
think it's an addiction because according to the news story, she's basically saying to the man that she needs help, that he should help her because that's what she is going through. But at the same time, he feels that no matter what he has tried to do, it seems not to be
Deep
working.
down, she doesn't
And
want to
another
stop. She
context
doesn't want to
is,
stop deep down, I'm sure.
and then another context is because Johnny Boy was saying maybe he should leave. But another context is because he's Ghanaian, he's African, he doesn't want to divorce because
I
apparently they
think
have like 2 kids and they've been married for 7 years. There's still that cultural aspect of feeling insufficient or like feeling terrible or feeling that sort of shame that you're not able to hold your marriage for a long period of time because obviously within African context most people see their parents married for a long period of time and then 7 years getting divorced or breaking up the home because they only have 2 children in there. Like that might be a factor that is making him still stay and try to make him to hang on. Does that change our perspective on the answers knowing this kind of side of things with the children and him trying to stay to help the wife that is married and loved for 7 years?
let's factor in one thing, one of the comment. I noticed that she said something which struck me, right? Sex is overrated. So, if that comment is coming from her and you're basically saying that it's actually, I've actually met someone that said sex is like a handshake. So, it's not that big a deal to the person, right? So, they could have sex with you. It's just like a handshake to them. So, to that person, sex is overrated. And to this um, lady in question, she seems to have that notion that, why are we placing too much emphasis on sex? And you would also see in certain parts of the world why people think that they have this belief that sex should be, you know, sacred and it should be honored. It should be between a married man and a woman. But for other parts, it's like it's a little more individualistic. So you have total control of your body. So you're pretty much free to do whatever you like. And if that means sleeping around, that shouldn't detach or affect how you are going to perform with your family and your parental duties. So they could take care of their kids, they could do every other family functions. But when it comes to that aspect, it is me. I am in control of my body. So I should have the right to sleep with who I want. But I mean, but she said it that sex is overrated. So what does overrated means to her? That's the thing. So that means it's important, but maybe it's not that big a deal. There are more important factors that I rate in and not just sex. So sex
Right.
comes way much on the you know bottom when it comes to the pecking order. So I would say if that's her mindset or how she thinks about sex, then it makes a lot of sense that she would go out. And the only reason she's probably trying to say help me is because there's this expectation from society, from her husbands and from everyone else to be a certain way, which is why I made the statement that if we take aside maybe religion, what,
Society, morals.
society wants, then a lot of people might cheat, but I know that a lot of people would step out of their way. So, yeah, well, that's just my take on that one.
Fair enough. So am I right to say that everyone thinks that the problem right now is not necessarily Mr. Casanova Mensah? It's about the lady has some kind of psychological or addiction, right? Sexual addiction. Am I right to think that's what
Do you think
all
she
of this
sees it
is?
I
as an
think,
addiction though?
I
Do you
think,
think so? Because based on what
Yes,
Maurice just said about she's
because I don't
overrated,
know
right?
her. I don't know her. Just based on the news story, that's what she placed it
Because
as.
for her to
So,
say it's
but do
overrated,
you
to me,
think
I
otherwise?
think she's seeing it more like a hobby. That's what she sees it, or she's just fulfilling a hobby of hers, which is to have sex with people. So I mean, a hobby you take. I mean, hobby is just something you just do for fun, right? So to her, probably sex is just fun. Come, let's have fun for 5, 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and we're good. Move on to the next. So that's to me, that's why I think she sees it. So that's why I feel that the best option
Right.
for the guy is just, you know what, fine. I'll play your sport. I'll play your game.
Right. So now, whether you think it's a hobby or whether you think it's an addiction, either way, it's still psychological from a point
yeah.
of view, right? And so my next question is, how people view gender stereotypes impact their understanding or impact the way they're going to view this woman? Okay, how do gender stereotypes, whether it's culturally, whether it's religiously, whether it's societal wise, whether it's sociological or academic, however wise, how do gender stereotypes impact our understanding? Because at least I've enjoyed that nobody has tried to judge the lady on this panel so far. Okay, I don't know your individual feelings, but that's the perception I've gotten from here. But in general, how does gender stereotype going to affect how people view her?
Well, I'm not going to say the S word for people start coming after me. But you all know what you'll be called for better. Well, there's no better for worse or for worse. So yeah, and that's the situation in an African setting. I'm not Ghanaian, so I don't know exactly what happens there. But if it's anything close to Nigeria or even out here in some parts of the West, she will be name called S words, P words, more S words. Yeah, sadly. But yeah, I guess it's just the person dealing with some psychological issues. So maybe that's not the most helpful thing to do. If it was a man, though, I think, the name calling won't be as this. In fact, some people might praise him, as we well know. But now that it's a woman, it's, to be very much frowned upon, shall we say. Yeah.
Fair enough. And what do you guys
Mm.
think? Same.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to think about it from the husband point of view. In terms of, I'm also thinking, what is it that the man would be, thinking or going through emotionally? Because what can you do about such things? Would you get angry? Would you, because it seems to me he still wants to be with her despite that. So if we're looking at gender stereotyping, the stereotype, or well, the typical African man would, that's a no-go area for them, especially when they're married. It's seen as a taboo. So stereotyping is not really applicable here, especially if you're looking at it from a man's point of view, because the family and it would be, if he were to say, I don't want to do this anymore, the family, nobody's going to question him. But where the stereotype then comes in is, if they made reference to that as well. If the roles were to be reversed, if this were to be like the man, then the family members are likely to pressure her to say, oh, that's how men are. You just try to live with it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think, yes, there is some elements of stereotyping here, but I think for this one, it's just what it is, you know. So I don't know how they're going to deal with that, but I think it's just one of those sticky things.
Fair enough. Before I ask another deeper question, do you guys have anything, any aspects that you would like to explore before I go into my next question based on this story? Any perspectives that you think that we are missing, or any point of view that
Do you guys
we
support
so
my
far?
motion that they should have an open marriage to save? Let's explore that aspect.
I think the open marriage seems like a fair option in this case, if we're being honest, because it's all about accepting of what the situation is. So if she wants to step out, then, but it doesn't seem like the man is interested in that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
So, so which is where the issue, I mean, usually, which is strange, usually, well, most people that, let me not say most people, but I know a few people that would say, okay, if that's the case, if I'm to be in this relationship, I am going to have to step out as well. But again, that has to come from him if he actually wants to, be in that open marriage. But I think that might not be a bad option here. But remember that this is Ghana we're talking about, and you know,
Yeah.
societal expectation is that it's one man, the wife, and every other person could go to hell for all they care. But yeah,
Yeah, religiously, it will be it will be one man and one
exactly.
woman. If
Yeah,
we are to go back to old school traditional African society, it's supposed to be
yeah.
one man, many women.
No,
But yes, I don't think open marriage is going to work in this situation basically, because the man still wants to make his wife work, like wants to still try to get his wife to come back to fulfill their vows of, forsaking all others and focus on taking care of themselves and their children. Since he feels that his bedroom skills is good enough, I don't think he wants his wife to continue seeing and gallivanting with other people.
And I don't think the wife
So
wants to
there
stop.
we go. So open marriage is not going to work. But the wife is already
I,
in an open marriage anyway. She's already enjoying herself.
yeah.
It's
I
just for the man to accept it.
I still feel like there's a lack of communication
I think so
here,
too.
because the reason I'm saying it is also be, I know, yes, you could get a lot of advice on social media, but just coming on social media too, I don't know if this is, but this made the news, so
Yeah.
it's like
It was on social
I
media.
can't.
They posted on social media in the
So
first place.
so
Yeah.
it comes to, or lack of communication here, because you've not really had that open communication with the woman, or maybe they have, but let them readdress what is it, or let's try and explore the whys. It's not about just, let's deep down into the reasons why you feel like you have to step out. So if they have that open communication, because again, remember that yes, she might want to stop, but she probably just want to stop because she loves him, like the post said, and she wants him to be happy. But is she just doing that for him and neglecting how she actually feels, which is another interesting angle that might be worth explaining. What do you actually want? Because it's easy for us to say, don't go into an open relationship, or try and work this out, or get into an open relationship, as the case may be. But what do you want, and what does the husband want? The husband obviously wants her to be faithful to him, but what does she want? Does she want to remain faithful? But yeah,
Or does she
I
want
don't
an
oknow.
open relationship? Yeah.
Exactly. So
As
if she
Johnny
wants
is
that,
trying to celebrate.
they would need to have that open dialogue and honest conversation. And also, she might want to, it could be because I don't know her, but some of the actions could be as a result of, I don't know, maybe low self esteem, fear of intimacy. Some people still have that. Yes, you're
Or
married,
just
but
dominance. She might think she's the alpha in the relationship, so she wants to do
it
whatever
could
she
be.
wants to
It
do.
could be. So it could be a number of personal issues that has to do with her. So that she has to explore first, and then another thing that I'm also sensing from the husband, there's this based on the tone, right? He made a statement. She claims she loves me. So there is already that statement. What that implies is that you're not saying she loves me. I know she loves me. You're saying she claims she loves me. And then he also says something that is also very fascinating. Sometimes she becomes too tired to go for the second time, but she's able to go twice with the other men. So, how do you have that much detail about the intimate session she has with that
Has with
man,
exactly.
with the other men? So that's quite interesting.
Well,
And
she confessed to him. She told him.
so so she told him, and he listened, and he knows the exact details.
Hmm.
And but what
So
that
is it a simp then? Is it a woman rapper? Is it a simp?
To
Is
me,
it
that tells
just
me that
begging
to
to
her,
be with
like
the
you
woman?
said, she's in an open relationship. That's what it tells me straight up. Just like you said,
Y-
she
yeah,
probably is,
because
but he isn't. He has not accepted the fact that he's in an open marriage. But she is.
yeah, he doesn't
Yes,
want to accept the
but
fact.
she
You're
is
right.
in an open
And
marriage. She
also,
is in an open marriage. Details like that, no way. You don't do that. That tells me she.
I mean, maybe she's a very open person when it comes to communication, so we can give her that. But the fact that you know that much, and there's some form of inferiority complex I sense here, because what he's saying is she doesn't go 2 rounds with me, but you can go 2 rounds with. So you're not comparing yourself with the man she is. So that is, I'm sensing a little bit of inferiority complex, but again, I don't know him. I don't know the aspects of their relationship, but I think maybe
She's a cuckold, yes.
no, maybe she wants that because he also started off by painting himself like a saint. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't womanize. I would never do that. So things like that, it seems like they're like the relationship, both of them are in contrast with each other in terms of their personalities, which is fine. Unlike poles attract, which is good. But it could be that because she knows that he's quite simple, he's quite, it could be that she's also taking advantage of him. And so that's another aspect. I don't know, but I think he needs to reevaluate what he actually wants from the relationship. If he's not able to accept that, because the fact that you're comparing yourself with the other men, you're comparing your escapades with what they do, it to me it doesn't bode well for him. So it might be difficult for him. I don't know, but I don't know. He's going to have to decide on what he actually wants. But I would say it's probably on him to maybe step up a little bit, and
Right.
I don't know.
You're shaking your head there, Ade.
Me, no, I don't think there's anything for him to step up. Did you guys play three-legged race in primary school? See, where it's two people,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
so
In the
and
sack.
then they will tie
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Similar, all those inter-sport games. This guy just found himself in a very awkward pairing of a three-legged race. He found himself with someone that Usain Bolt, and he's just an ordinary person. So my question is, how did he not discover this? Just like Johnny Boy said earlier, how did he not
Getting
know the
married.
kind of person he was with to the point where you married? Was he a pressure marriage? Was he, and now his eyes is red? I feel sorry for him, but
Right.
Communication is key because they should have discussed this before getting married. That's it. What's your expectation when it
But
comes to
but
sex
at
and
the
all
same
these things?
time, people change. You could be married, you could be a saint this year, and then 2 years time you
Yeah.
get
your
exposed
eyes
to
are still
more
red.
things,
True.
and
Exactly.
yeah. So it could be that she wasn't like that initially, and then all of a sudden something just clicked when
She
maybe
tasted the forbidden fruits and refused to come back.
exactly, and then she became
Her eyes were open.
enticed,
Her eyes
and
were
she
open.
wanted more of the forbidden fruits. So
Right. Now, you've mentioned forbidden fruit, and Adi has mentioned potato many times. So let's play a quick game. Right. If the man No. If the woman was a fruit or a food, what type of food, what type of fruit would she be and why?
Yam,
Yes.
because she
Well,
wants to be pounded. So just plus she's African. So but we have to do this both ways. We have to do for the man as well. So it doesn't we have to give the man yeah, but we have to do the same for the man also. So we
Oh,
can
okay. All right.
yeah.
Fair enough. Johnny boy.
you know,
Or either you want to go for it.
I'm okay to wait.
Let me see what food comes to mind. Kind of food would she be, right? As a person, the lady.
Yes, food or fruit or flavor of ice cream.
I would say she probably is a rice. So you have jollof rice, you have white rice, you have coconut rice, you have white rice, so different types of rice. That's where I see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I would say she'll probably be an orange because she wants to be juiced. So, yeah.
Good one. I'll go for sugar cane.
Okay.
No sugar cane. Firstly, it's very long. It just keeps going. It's like an energizer, but you cannot finish sugar cane. You think you get to one of those end. Okay, this
Yeah,
is
just
it.
keep going.
Another one I start.
Mm.
You just keep going.
Yeah.
And guess what? It tires you out because you need to drink a lot of water. Yeah, she's a sugar cane.
Fair enough. And since Maurice, you want us to go with both sides, what about the man? What flavor would he be?
Ah, the man. Now I was listening, so I wasn't really thinking about the man's one, but let me think. If anyone has any thought, they can go first. Let me just think about this.
I would say the man is like watermelon. Simply because
Yeah.
they chew him and then spit out the seed.
Based on that, I'll say it's an
It's
abalomo.
hard.
I'll give him an abalomo.
I was just going to say so. But no, agbalumos, as we know, they are precious and they can be very expensive in the right location. I would say is
But you see, throw away the seed, don't you?
wait, I'm still thinking. Yeah, you do still throw away the seed.
And like he said, he satisfies his wives in his mind. So by the end of the day, the wife.
I would say he's.
so it's an abalomo.
I'll call him is boiled rice. Because boiled rice is like the saddest of all the rices. It's innocent, it's sweet, it's white, it's holy. But without
Without sauce.
on its own is absolutely
Yeah.
useless. Without sauce, yeah, it can be a bit dead. But it will fill you up, just like it satisfies the lady.
But
But
it's not enough.
a bit boring. Maybe that's why she branches out. You see, so I was not wrong last time. I said you can't eat boiled rice. Anyway,
That's true.
I will lean more towards potato, maybe mashed potato. We know how the texture is, a little bit soft, but at the same time could be hard, firm in terms of his discipline, him wanting to be faithful. So he's like a hard potato, but at the same time, soft, mashed could be easily trampled upon if she's taking advantage of him. But yeah, that's how we did it.
Right. So the final one for this episode is if you were to write the ending of this story,
I guess you know mine.
if you were to write the ending of this story, how would you write it? So I would say that the woman, I'll go with the safe option because I know you guys will go wild, so I'll go with the safe one. I would say the woman changes her behavior. She realizes that she needs to focus on her kids and honor her marital vows, and they live happily ever after. That's my ending.
My ending will lean more towards what Johnny
Johnny Paul.
has said before. So let them just be in an open marriage. Yes, they will still fulfill their family, parental duties, but
Responsibilities, yeah.
that way at least it's balanced. So that's how I would end it.
I'll definitely end it as an open marriage
Johnny
because
boy.
it's easier. And to me, I don't really think the lady wants to stop. That's the feeling I have. I don't feel
Exactly.
she wants to stop. So it's not left for the man to either accept it or walk away. That's the two options he has. But to me, the best thing, accept it, and then you guys come to an agreement, and then you guys plan and say, okay, we're bringing a lady. Both of you agree. You have from the lady. Same thing, she does it with the guy. But you must know, the guy must know about it as well, though. The guy that's coming over or whatever. That way, everybody's both being satisfied. That's it. And they can always keep it away from the kids. It's something kids don't have to know about it as well. And society doesn't have to know because there are a lot of people that do that stuff back home that people don't know about. They just know how to hide it. So just hide it because it's only a shame when it comes out. If people don't know about it, if it's internal, nobody, it's not a shame, right? But it's only a shame when it comes out to the public. So the best option is just open marriage, man. You enjoy, I enjoy.
And finally, on this one, Ade, you have the last word.
Oh, well, he didn't give me the vibe. I think we can all agree. He didn't give any of us the vibe that I wanted to live that kind of life. So I'm going to go safe here and say, well, she stops doing it and he has the gumption to carry on with that. But my last question, which, well, I'm not the host here, but is will anyone here, you don't have to answer, but will anyone take back a partner like that that's been around? Will anyone take her back?
Just being honest, I wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, well,
7 years of marriage, 2 children. No.
I wouldn't.
No.
I'm just being honest. I wouldn't take her. I wouldn't take her back.
I was thinking about do it for the kids, but no.
I wouldn't.
No.
There has to be punishment
Nah.
for. To me, I always feel
You
there always
can't
has to be punishment for certain things you do.
you can't say you won't take. I don't understand. It doesn't change anything. If she doesn't tell you, how would you know?
Yeah, but
So
he was definitely going to find
Yeah,
out.
but she's already today. But the thing is, she's already
Yeah,
said
she
it.
said
She's
it.
already confessed.
yeah, but let's assume that he has no idea. Does it change anything about?
It's better he
her
doesn't
in
find
terms
out.
of-
But now we are going with the premise that he has found out, right? So
But whether or not he finds out, it doesn't change who she is, does it?
it doesn't. But
So
even if she stops,
you
let's
see
let's
that-
assume that she stops. Do you think he can trust her that she has stopped? Do you think so?
no,
Let's say she
no,
decides
the
to
point
stop,
is
right?
not for her to stop. The point is not for her to stop.
Even the
The
thing
point is for him to accept her the way he is, because the way she is, because if he doesn't know, right, he would have still maybe felt safe, felt okay, this is who I married. But at the time, this is just the only thing, because he made reference to the fact that she loves, they have 2 kids, she loves the kids, she does everything she does as a wife. So why is it that I think that just the fact that I think it's also selfish. Let her be who she wants to be, and
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's
know,
why I
this
say
is
my
just me.
personal. I'm gonna leave though. That's me. But if I'm advising him, I'll tell him not to leave. He should just continue. Join the league.
And even speaking about open marriage, even speaking about open marriages, I've seen so many, like I've heard many podcasts and people that said their husband will say, "Oh, let's do open marriage," and then when they actually opened up the marriage, the women are getting all the hits from
Of
different places,
course.
and the men are not getting anything. So even if you say let's open up the marriage, there is still the chance that the man may not even get half or even 1% of the enjoyment that the woman is
Yeah.
doing. So the best option
To
would
leave,
be,
right?
just call it a day.
Yeah,
Me,
so
I would
you
not. I
leave
would not
the-
take it
I
back.
think I'm with Mr. Morris on this one because I've always people say, but just like you say, if she didn't tell you, you have no idea. You'll be walking around the neighborhood like a messiah where everyone is laughing at you. I just ate that thing last night. And you're walking around thinking you're a big man. So at least she's been honest enough to tell you. So if there's love, anything can be fixed.
But do you
Fair
think?
enough,
But
fair
do you
enough.
think there's
So
going to be trust?
basically
That's my
the key
issue
thing-
though. Even if it's replaced, do you think the trust can be there? That's just the angle I'm coming from.
But that I think
Please,
I
let me
think
say
I
this
think the trust is there because she came up to tell you what is trust. Trust is not lying. Trust is being open. She's open about everything that's going on. So obviously, I think there's trust there. Me personally, that's what I think. But yeah,
If you are with a human being, always get ready to be let down. They are not perfect. I don't know if you guys read that story of Hosea in the Bible and the Old Testament that God asked him to go and marry a prostitute because of this, because she doesn't stay at home. And that was the punishment. Why did God ask him to do that? So that he will see how God feels when Israel was doing her things, worshiping other gods. So if God didn't chuck Israel in the bin, then if there's love, anything can be worked out.
Oh.
Sorry to be on my past over. Anyway, I'm
thank
done.
you for going there. And then we're going to end it on that note. Basically, sexual satisfaction is essential in a relationship, but it's not the sole factor in a successful relationship. Emotional connections matter as well. Communication matters as well. Honesty and openness matters as well. All right. This has been Scatteryarn Podcast. If you enjoy the content, subscribe if you're new or you're yet to subscribe, and follow us on our social medias. Until the next episode, be faithful, stick to your vows, and use your brain,
Use your
guys.
brain. Don't get caught.
SCFR.